Good morning. This is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess bringing you day 82 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation, where we use female words. This would be March 23rd if you are starting at the beginning of the new year. The denial of God. The rituals of the god of sickness are strange and very demanding. Joy is never permitted, for depression is the sign of allegiance to her. Depression means that you have forsworn God. Many are afraid of blasphemy, but they do not understand what it means. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own identity, and, in this sense, the wages of sin is death. The sense is very literal. Denial of life perceives its opposite, as all forms of denial replace what is with what is not. No one can really do this, but that you can think you can and believe you have is beyond dispute. Do not forget, however, that to deny God will inevitably result in projection, and you will believe that others and not yourself have done this to you. You must receive the message you give, because it is the message you want. You may believe that you judge your sisters by the messages they give you, but you have judged them by the message you give to them. Do not attribute your denial of joy to them, or you cannot see the spark in them that would bring joy to you. It is the denial of the spark that brings depression. For whenever you see your sisters without it, you are denying God. Allegiance to the denial of God is the ego's religion. The god of sickness obviously demands the denial of health because health is in direct opposition to its own survival. But consider what this means to you. Unless you are sick, you cannot keep the gods you made, for only in sickness could you possibly want them. Blasphemy, then, is self-destructive, not God-destructive. It means that you are willing not to know yourself in order to be sick. This is the offering your God demands because, having made her out of your insanity, she is an insane idea. She has many forms, but although she may seem to be many different things, she is but one idea, the denial of God. Sickness and death seemed to enter the mind of God's child against her will. The attack on God made her child think she was motherless, and out of her depression, she made the god of depression. This was her alternative to joy because she would not accept the fact that, although she was a creator, she had been created. Yet the child is helpless without the mother, who alone is her help. I said before that of yourself you can do nothing, but you are not of yourself. If you were, what you have made would be true, and you could never escape. It is because you did not make yourself that you need be troubled over nothing. Your gods are nothing, because your mother did not create them. You cannot make creators who are unlike your creator any more than she could have created a child who was unlike her. If creation is sharing, it cannot create what is unlike itself. It can share only what it is. Depression is isolation, and so it could not have been created. Child of God, you have not sinned, but you have been much mistaken. Yet this can be corrected, and God will help you. Knowing that you could not sin against her, you denied her because you loved her, knowing that if you recognized your love for her, you could not deny her. Your denial of her, therefore, means that you love her, and that you know she loves you. Remember that what you deny, you must have once known. And if you accept denial, you can accept its undoing. Your mother has not denied you. She does not retaliate, but she does call you to return. When you think she has not answered your call, you have not answered hers. She calls to you from every part of the childship because of her love for her child. If you hear her message, she has answered you, and you will learn of her if you hear aright. The love of God is in everything she created, for her child is everywhere. Look with peace upon your sisters, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gift to her. Do not look to the god of sickness for healing, but only to the god of love, for healing is the acknowledgement of her. When you acknowledge her, you will know that she has never ceased to acknowledge you, and that in her acknowledgement of you lies your being. You are not sick, and you cannot die, but you can confuse yourself with things that do. Remember, though, that to do this is blasphemy, for it means that you are looking without love on God and her creation, from which she cannot be separated. Only the eternal can be loved, for love does not die. What is of God is hers forever, and you are of God. Would she allow herself to suffer? And would she offer her child anything that is not acceptable to her? If you will accept yourself as God created you, you will be incapable of suffering. Yet to do this, you must acknowledge her as your creator. This is not because you will be punished otherwise. It is merely because your acknowledgement of your mother is the acknowledgement of yourself as you are. Your mother created you wholly without sin, wholly without pain, and wholly without suffering of any kind. If you deny her, you bring sin, pain, and suffering into your own mind because of the power she gave it. Your mind is capable of creating worlds, but it can also deny what it creates because it is free. You do not realize how much you have denied yourself and how much God in her love would not have it so. She would not interfere with you because she would not know her child if she were not free. To interfere with you would be to attack herself, and God is not insane. When you deny her, you are insane. Would you have her share your insanity? God will never cease to love her child, and her child will never cease to love her. That was the condition of her child's creation, fixed forever in the mind of God. To know this is sanity. To deny it is insanity. God gave herself to you in your creation, and her gifts are eternal. Would you deny yourself to her? Out of your gifts to her, the realm will be restored to her child. Her child removed herself from her gift by refusing to accept what had been created for her and what she had created in the name of her mother. Heaven waits for her return, for it was created as the dwelling place of God's child. You are not at home anywhere else or in any other condition. Do not deny yourself the joy that was created for you, for the misery you have made for yourself. God has given you the means for undoing what you have made. Listen, and you will learn how to remember what you are. If God knows her children as holy, sinless, it is blasphemous to perceive them as guilty. If God knows her children as holy without pain, it is blasphemous to perceive suffering anywhere. If God knows her children to be wholly joyous, it is blasphemous to feel depressed. All of these illusions and the many other forms that blasphemy may take are refusals to accept creation as it is. If God created her child perfect, that is how you must learn to see her, to learn of her reality. And as part of the childship, that is how you must see yourself to learn of yours. Do not perceive anything God did not create, or you are denying her. She is the only motherhood, and it is yours only because she has given it to you. Your gifts to yourself are meaningless, but your gifts to your creations are like hers, because they are given in her name. That is why your creations are as real as hers. Yet the real motherhood must be acknowledged if the real child is to be known. You believe that the sick things you have made are your real creations, because you believe that the sick images you perceive are the children of God. Only if you accept the motherhood of God will you have anything, because her motherhood gave you everything. That is why to deny her is to deny yourself. Arrogance is the denial of love, because love shares and arrogance withholds. As long as both appear to you to be desirable, the concept of choice, which is not of God, will remain with you. While this is not true in eternity, it is true in time, so that while time lasts, in your mind there will be choices. Time itself is your choice. If you would remember eternity, you must look only on the eternal. If you allow yourself to become preoccupied with the temporal, you are living in time. As always, your choice is determined by what you value. Time and eternity cannot both be real, because they contradict each other. If you will accept only what is timeless as real, you will begin to understand eternity and make it yours. That is interesting. It says choice is not of God. God is described as being homogeneous. All is love, all is one, all is the same. What is there to choose? And one is completely free because there's no limitation. We think of freedom as being choice, but when we are in truth and reality, there is nothing to choose. That is interesting. Lesson 82, review of lessons 63 through 64. We will review these ideas today. 63. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. My forgiveness is the means by which the light of the world finds expression through me. My forgiveness is the means by which I become aware of the light of the world in me. My forgiveness is the means by which the world is healed together with myself. Let me then forgive the world that it may be healed along with me. Suggestions for specific forms for applying this idea are: let peace extend from my mind to yours, name. I share the light of the world with you, name. Through my forgiveness, I can see this as it is. 64. Let me not forget my function. I would not forget my function, because I would remember myself. I cannot fulfill my function if I forget it. And unless I fulfill my function, I will not experience the joy that God intends for me. Suitable specific forms of this idea include: let me not use this to hide my function from me. I would use this as an opportunity to fulfill my function. This may threaten my ego, but cannot change my function in any way. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy reviewing.